Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. Well, I asked what you wanted me to talk about, and by far the most common response was what the hell is it called? The Twitch Safety Advisory Council? Um, I tend to get requests to talk about this stuff every time one of these happens with with Twitter and with YouTube. And I don't remember if YouTube did one, but people who have been watching this channel for a while know I have a low opinion of these sorts of councils. And this is going to be an interesting segue because this is part of the reason why. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron, patreon.com/Lana K. I tend to believe, yeah, they get people who are, more notable streamers, but these tend to be optics committees. They may change things around the edges, but policy on various sites is very much driven by advertisers and not various committees. I firmly believe, having been on women in media and women in the arts and women in tech and all that stuff in these panels and these conferences and all this stuff, they trot us out like trained poodles. They don't give a shit what we say. It's cover your ass optics. Now, there are a few people on the panel who seem to at least know what they're talking about. Alex Holmes, the deputy CEO of the Diana Award, the director of the Center for Democracy and Technology's Free Expression Project. Free Expression Project is important. And then a couple of academics who are experts in cyberbullying and internet/game studies. The academics in game studies, okay, I technically am one, but maybe that's part of the reason I go, but, the fact that there's a free expression expert on this council is quite important to me. In terms of the Twitch personalities, the Twitch partners who are on the council. I just giggle whenever we're doing this big advisory council with somebody who goes by the name Cup a Noodle. It's a cute name, but you know what I mean. But I am interested in Zizaran's press release, where he's going to focus on making the rules more clear. So that's good. But people seem to be freaking out. Primarily, it seems because of Ferociously Steph. I admit, I had never heard of Ferociously Steph before this. I'm sorry now that I've heard of Ferociously Steph. Some of the stuff that my eyeballs have been forced to watch to understand why people are freaking out over this woman, I can't unsee. And I'm furry friendly, okay? I mean, there's a freaking pony mascot in Boss Fight that's coming up. But okay. Freedom of expression. Do your due. More concerning is some of the stuff that has come out about her, off-screen behavior. Their on-screen behavior, we could say, is just peculiar or strange or novel, eccentric, right? But her off-screen behavior and the off-screen behavior of some of her sort of compatriots, shall we say, I think I understand why people are concerned. The stuff I saw made her come across as quite a bully. I always have, and she was involved in this conversation. It was somebody who knows her that got caught lying or whatever. But I tend to have a low opinion of DM chains where women are calling other women bitches. It's just I know people do it. It's really not my thing. Um, it slips out sometimes behind someone's back, but if you're calling women that to their face, you just come on. First of all, it's horribly immature, and it's something of a shame tactic. It's also just a very lazy comment. People who watch my Twitch channel know that I'm not big on bitch as an insult, not because it's offensive, but because it's lazy. If you take that word out of your vocabulary, you actually have to think about your issue that you have with a particular person instead of just labeling them a bitch. That is my issue with the word. It is totally on laziness grounds, not anything else. But this Ferociously Steph is one person on the council. And based on the way these councils work, having been on them, there tend to be 2 to 3 people who really sort of dominate, who have something to say. A couple other people that add, their little pet ideas, but they really don't have big thoughts. And one person who sits there the whole time. Back in the day, they'd doodle. Nowadays, they're on their freaking phone. That tends to be the way these committees go. And I have not seen a whole lot of deep thoughts from some of these personalities. I think it's really good that they do have people on there who are interested in freedom of expression, but also interested in consistency and clarity of rules. That's a heck of a lot better than the roster they had for the Twitter Trust and Safety Council. But to me, this seems like, I know some people are like, oh my God, this. I get the offense it causes that somebody who seems decidedly unqualified for any intellectual pursuit, never mind one that will affect an entire community of people who just want to play video games and talk on camera. It seems unfair that they would be elevated in this regard, but usually in these things, they approached other people and they said no, and these are the people that said yes, first of all. But this may sound cynical, but I'm just going from experience. Like, I'm telling it to you straight here, okay? But I find that these companies also, like I said, they do these boards and these councils, and they write a report or they present their findings, and the company may take a flavor of this here or a trim of this there, but they really only affect policy around the edges. These corporations are going to do what these corporations are going to do. And I have never really seen meaningful change come out of one of these councils. I have seen these councils used as cover when the company does things that they were going to do anyway that they think might be unpopular. But this comes into this question of whether Twitch has a unique problem with community moderation. And I mean, there are certain features on Twitch that, yes, they're geared towards visibility. But when someone else is hosting your channel, you don't know who their base is. You may draw people that are unsavory in your mind. Twitch moderation tools are such that if you want to kick somebody, you can kick them. I've done it very rarely, but I've done it. I kicked someone when I was playing Death Stranding for posting apparent spoilers. I just think spoiler stuff like that is when you're forcing a spoiler on somebody instead of putting it up and saying, hey, here's spoilers, click the link if you want to see. It's different than forcing someone to see it in a chat or something like that. It's a dick move. I thought it was a dick move with The Last of Us 2 stuff. I'm never going to change my mind that it's a dick move. But how do you really prevent that other than moderating every person that comes in, which is sort of the purpose of Twitch? I mean, part of this is just that this is a new medium. And we've all sort of been at live events. Well, not recently because of COVID, but we've all been at like a movie or a concert or especially a comedy show where someone in the audience just decides to be completely obnoxious and they heckle. And sometimes the person on stage can deal with it. Sometimes they'll settle down if they're in a movie. Sometimes security has to remove them. Twitch is really no different. You're just dealing with orders of magnitude much larger than your standard movie theater for the big Twitch streamers. Not me. My channel's pretty small. I kind of like it that way because it's good conversation. I basically show up, be a goof playing video games so that other people can make friends and talk to each other. And it works for me. I like it. It's fun. It's direct access. And I learn a lot from the people in the chat. This is when we get into this idea of what constitutes harassment. And a lot of the stuff that people claim is harassment is often really not harassment. It's the cost of doing business. And this is just something that, benevolent sexism comes into play. You don't see as many dudes crying wolf on harassment as women. And they do it because they're allowed to get away with it, because people would rather give lip service to equality than actually take steps towards true equality. And, it's a little disturbing, but it's something we're going to have to contend with. And I know a lot of people don't find it fair, but I just find that giving certain people more attention along that paradigm is just sort of self-defeating. When you make a contentious opinion and people take issue with that contentious opinion for a couple of days, that's not harassment. They might be rude, they might be wrong, they might be unfair, but that's not harassment. And I say this as somebody who said things that I know are going to be contentious, and people got mad, and I'm like, I expected that. Other times I'm like, what? But somebody has to basically go on a campaign. Like, there are some people on Twitter that just hate my guts, mostly because of, the label of feminist and the fact that I'm not stark raving crazy and they can't find an easy thing to go after me for. So they have to basically make stuff up that isn't true. I just had a flare up of that this week, and it's like, really, guys? That to me is harassment. Now, did I freak out about it and start screen capping and posting and, oh my God, this is going on? No, because that calls more people to do it. If they think they're going to get attention through it, of course they're going to do it. It turned out I met a new person through this because she kind of got dragged into it, and she's like, what's going on? And so I talked to her and I said, look, this is what I really think. She goes, I have no problem with what you think. All right, Awesome. New person I can talk to. Cool. Very good. Welcome. Right? That's what you do. And every so often it gets really real. You know, when that guy from the Young Turks came at me and said some absolutely just wrong, not progressive things, like anti-progressive things. And, you know, somebody could argue he got away with it. He blocked me on Twitter. So as far as I'm concerned, he lost because he came at me and then ran away. But, you know, I think this is the difference between me being 42 years old instead of 22 years old and having a different perspective on what's important and what's not. And I think that is really what these platforms need, is a certain amount of mentorship so that people who have been around a while can mentor and sort of help people with less experience in media and less experience with dealing with the public kind of, you know, teach them the ropes. This is what you got to expect. It's not the end of the world, you know. This is what might be a good idea. This is probably not so great an idea. You know, the problem is a lot of these services haven't been around that long to have people who have been doing it for a while. I mean, I only have this experience because I had previous careers before I moved to YouTube, right? Like I still have other careers. This doesn't pay enough for a full-time thing. But you know, still dealing with people who hate you because you're on television is the same with dealing people who hate you because you're on radio is the same as people who hate you because you're on YouTube and Twitch. You have to just get okay with people not liking you. And eventually you realize that certain people not liking you is an indication that you're doing something or many things right. And that is maturity. You take enough knocks, you go through the wars enough that you recognize that this most recent crap storm is only the most recent one. It's not going to ruin you, you know. It will pass in a little while, you know, unless you said something truly stupid and then you have to do cleanup. Worse if you said something actually bigoted. That doesn't mean people thought you said something bigoted. It means you did something that, you know, provably is probably wrong. But you know, other than that, people get mad. It goes on for a couple of days. I find the half-life for a really bad dust-up is about 72 hours. And so you turn off Twitter, and you turn off Facebook, and you turn off Instagram, and either, you know, stop the apps on your phone, or stop the notifications, or put down your fucking phone. It is possible. You can do it, okay? And you do something else. Because most of us have plenty of work to do that isn't cruising social media. And you come back in a while, and people have mostly forgotten about it. Now, if somebody is targeting you, they are just there. And it's... See, I want to see these various social media services address the other problem. I know a lot of people, male and female alike, but a lot of guys, and I want to focus on the guys right now, who have ongoing, legit harassers. And law enforcement won't do anything. These various platforms won't do anything. They just, they shut down the account, and then the harasser just takes out another account, and they let them do it. Because for whatever reason, they don't keep a file on the activity. They don't do language matches on these new accounts. And so they're just a vehicle for which some very angry person is just making someone miserable. And it compromises the mental health of men just as much as it compromises the mental health of women. And yet they get away with it. And then there's this like extra unfairness when, you know, somebody like Alinity flashes a nipple accidentally, not the first time, you know, not the first time for that sort of behavior, and gives herself a 3-day suspension. That's not giving yourself a suspension. That's taking 3 days off. Like, a suspension is something that is done to you. That's a weekend, you know? And I admit, I'm a bit concerned at this idea that, like, these people who are, like, Twitch partners, they are on Twitch a lot. That is not a healthy amount of time to be doing something performative in public. You know, the average TV host does maybe an hour 4 days a week, 5th day sometimes, but usually that's a rerun of some kind or a clip show. You know, that's a talk show host or something like that. A newsreader, like an anchor on a cable news station, will be on air an hour, 2 hours a day, and then a fill-in shift. Some of these Twitch hosts, some of these Twitch partners are on 2-3 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week. And I guess that's how you make money on Twitch, but that is way too much for your mental health to handle. No performer does that much. And some of them are more, like some of them are on there every damn day. That's not healthy. That's more unhealthy than the YouTube lifestyle was. YouTubers work damn hard, but that's nuts. And some people say, oh, you're just playing video games, but you're not just playing video games. Trust me, as somebody who does it, the activity of playing a video game on your own where you're like, you know, like you might be wearing pants, you might not be wearing pants. Okay, sometimes I don't wear pants when I do Twitch, but I don't stand up. But you're just like, you know, you're gross and you're like, and you're talking to yourself and you're kind of singing. And okay, I do that on Twitch too. But you know what I mean? Like you're not on. You can zone out and just focus on the game. The mental gymnastics that it takes to pay attention to what's being said in chat and play a video game or whatever else you're doing, that's mentally taxing, especially if you play normal to difficult games the way I do. You're not playing on easy mode. That's a lot. You know, if you're playing multiplayer like some of these really good Fortnite players do, that's a lot of brain work, a lot of hours while people are watching. That's a lot of stress hormone coursing through your body. That ain't healthy. And we're going to have to take a look at these, you know, incentives and these analytics that encourage these young people to be doing this much. Maybe that's the biggest problem with Twitch. You think? Like, maybe there should be limits. Maybe they should cap how long people play a day. Because, you know, I'm giving conservative estimates. I know there are some people who are on for like hours and hours and hours and hours. I don't even know how their internet handles it. But, you know, that's just my thoughts. You need that recoup time. You need the practice time. You can't be on that much. And like, you know, if you're doing a sales job or something like that, it's one-on-one. It's not 1 in 1,000. It's a different thing. And okay, I'm an introvert. Maybe an extrovert can handle it better, but yikes, right? So I'm interested in what you guys think. Let me know. Leave a comment. And of course, help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. And watch Twitch tonight. I will be on 6 o'clock my time, Eastern. Thanks for watching.